Hey, are you someone that's considering community college, or if you're planning to transfer from a community college to a four-year institution? Well, this is the perfect video for you. What we'll be talking about today are some of the benefits of going to community college and some best practices for looking to transfer, as well as common mistakes to avoid as well. So stay tuned. I'm Tiffany Fu. I'm a certified career and college coach. So I help families navigate the college application process. So go ahead and subscribe to this channel because we discuss all things college and career here. I'm really excited for our guest today. His name is Rodolfo Santos, aka Rod. He's a dear friend and mentor who is currently the Dean of Enrollment Services for Contra Costa College, a community college that's located in the East Bay of Northern California. And he has a background in recruitment for SF State University and was my scholarship academic counselor at UC Berkeley. That's how I met him. Rod has worked in higher education for over 20 years, having worked in all public systems of higher education in California. So the CSU system, UC, California community colleges, he does it all. He is also a social and racial justice activist, naturalist, and musician. Just overall amazing person. If you can join me in giving him a warm welcome, Rod Santos. Hi.
Hi, Tiffany. It's great to see you again. Thanks for having me on.
Of course, likewise. And, I meant every word that you are such an impactful person in my life. And I still think about you on certain days that I am very proud of myself or it's a rough time. And I keep you in the back of my mind. So thank you.
Absolutely. I think of you and your friends at Berkeley all the time too. So it's great to connect again and to help all of our fellow students out there or our families are out there that maybe have some questions about going to college. So happy
Yeah.
to be here.
Awesome. So before we even jump into the questions, can you share with our students what college or university you went to and what major?
Absolutely. So I graduated from UC Davis, and I was a double major in wildlife, fish, and conservation biology. I was a science guy. But I also midway through college decided to tackle something else, and that's called psychology. And so I decided to get a double major in that as well. For me, I actually started my world in higher education actually taking an intro to chemistry class at
Oh,
San Joaquin Delta College. So my first experience of higher ed was actually at a community college. So it's really cool to finally be able to come full circle and working at a community college now in my career. So yeah,
that's
that's how I started out.
great. First question for you is, can you share some of the benefits of attending a community college and especially at Contra Costa College?
Absolutely. So one of the things that's important about the community college, and most folks already know this, but I'll share with you that the cost is probably the most efficient that you can think about in the world of higher education in our state. So in California, because I know some of our viewers might be there coming from other states, which is great, but in California, it costs about $46 per unit. And what's really good about that is that many of the courses that you can take at the community college are transferable to our other public institutions, four-year institutions, that is the California State University as well as the University of California.
Mhm.
So for a lot of students that might not be uh, as affluent, or if you come from a working family, it might be more cost efficient to start off at a community college and then transfer elsewhere to complete your four-year degree. For me, I think CCC is very equity minded. Our college campuses and many of our community colleges are extremely diverse, and we are near a urban community. So being in an urban community means that we definitely have a lot of students that face financial challenges, and for us, it's their only means of access education, and to that is very meaningful to me. So I think in that sense, it's a very cost effective, especially for folks that may not be able to afford going to a four-year right off the bat.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rod has mentioned in the past, like the different programs that really foster inclusion at CCC as well. So I'm so glad to hear that. Awesome. And what are some ways to get connected and or involved on campus?
Yeah, so when it comes to the community college, a lot of folks think of community colleges as commuter schools. That essentially that you go onto campus, you take classes, and you leave. I found that at the community colleges that student life is just as important to get engaged with the actual community, the college community. Visit your community college in your backyard. Talk to somebody who works there. Be aware of the events that the college hosts. For example, we actually host movie nights. Show up during the first week of classes and just take a look around. Talk to folks. Most campuses have a welcome services. If you have questions about maybe taking a class, maybe folks with families out there have parents that want to take classes too. That's also a great way to get connected, involved in the campus. What's interesting, at least at our college this semester, is that 70% of our students are actually 20 years or older. So we've got a lot of older students that want to come back, particularly parents of folks that are just in high school or just leaving high school. So we have a lot of families that attend, and a lot of folks in the community that want to take a look at what's happening at your college. So check it out. You may find some hidden gems. We just opened up our new science center at our college, and we're going to soon be hosting planetarium shows in a brand new planetarium. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So there's a lot of great ways that you can attend these events.
Oftentimes on this channel, we talk about the importance of visiting schools, colleges, and making your college list. And why not add your community college on this list? And that's a step that a lot of students skip. And actually, that's something I will encourage my students to do as well for the future, just to be aware. Yeah, I love
Absolutely. Yeah. Check out the calendars at the community colleges. They usually try to update those. Some community colleges may not have as many resources to keep everything updated, but I definitely know we are starting to get ours updated too. So.
Yeah, I mean, movie nights, book reads, planetarium, like that. You have a lot.
Yeah, we do.
I like that. Great. And any common misconceptions about community colleges that you'd like to demystify? I know you mentioned a little bit earlier, but I'm sure you have a little bit more.
Absolutely. I think the biggest stigma is that it's less prestigious to go to a community college.
Mm-hmm.
I personally think that it's actually the smartest and the most cost-efficient route to get your degree. If I were to do it again, I might have done it differently myself, just because you could take your science courses and you can take your full science sequences at the community college, and you can have those transfer to your four-year institution, and that will all still count towards your overall degree. And I think that's something that a lot of students and families think is less than. I've heard a lot of students say, "Oh, I go to the local community college, but it's just like high school." In actuality, it isn't. When you're surrounded by people of all sorts of ages and backgrounds from all over the community, your classes are going to be very, very, very diverse. And on top of that, you're going to get a lot more attention with your professors to teach you, to talk to you, to connect with you, to listen to your stories sometimes. We get a lot of working families, a lot of working students that experience different life situations. We're going through a pandemic still right now and trying to work our way through it. And we have a lot of folks that have gone through so many life events. And I find that our community college professors are understanding. They care about students. Remember, a lot of folks out there that at the four-year institutions, that a lot of folks still do research. A lot of our professors do research out there. Whereas the community college, the focus is on teaching. So the idea is that if you learn what you need to learn at the community college, you can bring that to your four-year institutions. So I actually think that it's as equal, in some cases more, prestigious to go to the community college, because at the end of the day, you're saving your money. At the end of the day, if you transfer to a four-year institution, you still get that degree. They don't care where you came from. You still got that degree, and nobody can take that away from you.
That is so right, Rod. And I love that point. You're making a really smart financial decision. And on top of that, you're able to make double the network, in my opinion, because you're meeting folks at that community college and likely from your local community, but different parts of your community. And then when you transfer, you get even more connections. So that's a great point.
And along with that, it's really cool because I've worked at the UC and the CSU systems. I still maintain my connections to my other institutions. So I've been able to refer students that transfer to any of the other 5 institutions I've worked at to the folks. Like one of my good friends is a director of undergraduate admissions at one of the UCs.
Uh-huh.
I got them in touch with these folks. And I think that's the magic of being at the community college. And that is, you just never know. You just got to talk to folks and ask them, who do you know? Where are you transferring to?
We're just so fortunate to have folks like you working in higher education in order to help the youth as well as students of all different ages be able to achieve their ambitions. So thank you so much. Great. Next question. What are some courses that are underrated and or popular that you would recommend?
Yes, I can certainly talk about courses because a lot of folks think about the typical courses. So you think about general education courses, social sciences, humanities. You also got the sciences that are out there. For example, we know that business is very, very popular. Folks want to go get their MBAs. Folks want to go into business. There are other programs that are unique to the community college, and those are the ones I want to highlight a little bit.
Mhm.
Some of those are what we call the allied health fields. Those allied health
What?
fields include allied health, which is
Oh, okay.
essentially nursing. It is EMT or paramedic. It's medical assisting. It's all these other fields that folks may not know about, are just as lucrative, and actually in some cases may require less school than
Wow.
going the traditional doctor, dentist, pharmacy route. So the community colleges have a lot of allied health programs, and they're certified with the state. So you can actually get into some of these programs and get experience fairly quickly. Now, I will mention a caveat, and that is some of the nursing programs, it is a lottery system for many of the community colleges.
Mm.
And for some of the other advanced programs, it's a little bit harder to get in just because of the demand. But there are other allied health programs that are out there. You can think about X-ray tech. You can think about a lot of these other programs, allied health, that are out there. And check out your local community college to see what kind of allied health programs they have there. The other very popular thing that I've been seeing more and more recently is computer cybersecurity
Mhm.
certificates and those kinds of things. Those classes are definitely available as well. As we go and come into this age, as we've been working remotely for the past 2.5 years, I think it's important that for folks to not only get that kind of information and understanding, but you can actually get a certification to be an expert in that kind of role. And then there are other trades, and this is the one that's kind of really cool. So during the pandemic, right, a lot of folks have been like, oh, I don't know how I'm going to get a job because some of these industries have closed down, such as our culinary restaurants and so on and so forth, and sometimes hospitality stuff, right? The folks think about automotive or collisions. They still happen. People are still on the road. So one of the more popular classes that I have been witnessing and seeing are these automotive classes. That industry is just as popular and just as lucrative, right? And there's demand for jobs in those particular areas. So think about the trades that are available at your local community college. You can get an AA or a certificate in less than 2 years. In many cases, sometimes even a year. So I would say take a look at what's out there, and depending on what's your interest, I think there's something for everybody here at the community college.
Yeah, it sounds like a much more intentional way of approaching your education with some of those different courses and programs that you recommended. And I had no idea that nursing was a lottery system as well.
Yes, some schools are. Yeah, some of the community colleges offer a lottery system. At least here in the Bay Area, that's how some of it is. Others
Mhm.
are merit based as well. You have to just check it out, what your local community college is offering and how you can get in.
Love that. That's a good point. Thank you
Mhm.
so much for sharing. Anticipated questions usually is around transferring because the
Yes.
concern for a lot of the students I work with is like, okay, well, if I do go to the community college, how do I successfully transfer? So, do you have any best practices that you like to share with the students?
Absolutely, for sure. I know a lot of students who are talking about transfer to another institution. The first thing that you have to do is try to prepare for the application as soon as you can. So a lot of the applications will require some sort of statement. They'll require some sort of personal statement. Make sure you have somebody review your personal statements,
Mhm.
because that's going to be your story. And your story is what's going to be important for our admissions counselors to kind of pick out and to see, hey, does this person or does this student, might they be eligible for something? Do they have particular area or background or personal experience that will make them stand out? For example, what kind of leadership experience do you have? What kind of work have you done at your local community college as a leader? I recently had a student that was involved in student government, served on several committees, and he got into USC. Yeah, University of Southern California. I know there are two USCs out there, so want to explain that one. And super proud of him, and he's still in touch. He's done some great work, and I know a lot of it really was to make sure that his statement was put together, that he had great recommendations, that he had some mentors to look to evaluate his materials. Also, if you have earned any scholarships at your community college, those are considered awards and honors. Don't forget that. Don't forget to include that in your applications. There are lots of scholarships available for community college students, and they're just as prestigious as any scholarship is out there, especially for the 4 years as well, that they pay attention to those kinds of things. The other thing is to work with your four-year institutions to look at transfer agreements. Transfer agreements are really important because it basically says it's a contract with the 4 year, basically stating if you do XX, take these classes, you have an agreement to attend our school. And on top of that, your agreement will basically take care of these number of requirements, including general education and others. Another thing that's out there too is ADTs and ASTs. Those particular programs are a one-for-one. So if you go, say, an AST or an ADT in business at whatever community college, and that contract is with another institution, a 4 year, it basically says it gets your general education as well as your major, your lower division major requirements out of the way. So when you transfer, your last 2 years are all of your upper division, higher level courses that will get you out and get you graduated within 2 years. So those are some of the programs that are really helpful for students that are out there. So look out for those ADTs and ASTs. I know some of the students out there and families may be thinking, well, do I know what major I want to get into? I would say those ASTs and ADTs are for folks that are sure of what program, what major they want to go into. Now, if you don't want to do that, there is the traditional way of transferring. If you want a little bit more time at your 4 year to determine what your major is, we understand that that might be the case for some of our students out there and our families out there. But for transfers, I would really highly recommend that you transfer when you have a good sense of what your major and what your degree program is at the 4 year. That is probably the biggest advice I could tell folks out there and families out there.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I love that you brought up that you should be backwards planning. Look at what the 4 year institutions are looking for and
Yes.
plan early. I've seen students start planning a few months before they plan on applying and the application enrollments open. That is a very difficult approach because what if there's courses that you're missing and there's different requirements like letters of recommendations take a while. You need to put your request in early with the other teachers slash professors on campus or off of campus if you decide to have other recommenders as well. So thank you for bringing that up.
Absolutely.
Great. And so we were talking about best practices. Can you
Yeah.
share some common mistakes that you've seen? I'm sure you've seen a few.
Yes.
You would like to help prevent them. So is there any that you would like to highlight?
Absolutely. There's one really big one that I think a lot of people don't talk about, at least in these kind of forums and spaces. And that is anyone who's a science student out there. I think this is really, really critical.
Mm-hmm.
If you are a science student, you don't need to complete the IGETC. So the IGETC it stands for Intersegmental General Education Transfer Curriculum. So the IGETC basically satisfies all the general education at the 4 year. That's essentially what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of science students think, oh, if I get the IGETC out of the way, then I'll be good. The answer is no. The important piece for the IGETC is that you actually, as a science student, you don't need to complete that. For science students, I would recommend that you complete your calculus, that you complete your general chemistry, that you try to complete organic chemistry, biology, all your major science sequences before you transfer. And I also would recommend that as a science student, that if you start a science sequence, you finish it.
Hey, last question for you. Any last advice for students looking to attend community college or transferring?
Yes, I think it goes back to this whole idea of connection. I think the community college is known very well for being able to connect students to their local community, and likewise, right? I think the challenge that we come into that I see all often is that students get overwhelmed when they get to the four-year institution. So before you go, many of your college, community college professors came from these four-year institutions. So we've got, I know one of my good colleagues and friends who got his entire degree, and including bachelor's, master's, and PhD from UC Berkeley. Odds are that that person probably knows somebody at UC Berkeley they can talk to. So take a look at your professor's credentials. Find out where they're from and find out, hey, where did you go to for school? Maybe, I can go, to that school too. Or do you know somebody you connect me with? And for example, our college catalog at Contra Costa, we have a list of faculty and administrators and where their degrees came from. So I would highly recommend that any of you students out there are looking to transfer, take a look at the back of your catalog and see which folks came from where. And that will give you a good hint on perhaps who you can talk to at your community college to see if you can find a connection at the institution you wish to attend down the road or to transfer to.
I learned from Rod the power of connection and networking, and that has changed my journey in college and post college for my career as well. And I will say that's one of the biggest lessons that I wish I knew earlier in life, because use your resources. People don't know you need help or you want help without you letting them know. So I think that's a great point. Where there's will, there's a way.
Absolutely.
Rod, you're so helpful. Any last words for the students or folks listening here?
If you're at the community college, we care about you. Ask for help, as what Tiffany exactly said. A lot of students don't even know that the help is there. All you got to do is ask. I know it might be hard for some of our families and the cultures out there to ask for that help, especially if you have to divulge some of your personal information. But to let you know that a lot of us community college folks came from some of those backgrounds too. So most cases, they will understand your story and understand your situation. So we're there and we care.
I love that, Rod. And I feel it. You're radiating a lot of warmth and care. Well, folks, we hope you really enjoyed this conversation. I know I did. I learned a lot from this as well. So as Rod's mentioned, leverage your resources. I'm going to go ahead and link the Contra Costa College website down below as well if you want to learn more about the community college. And then also, we're sending you all good vibes, and you're taking one step closer in furthering your future and education by just watching this as well. So go ahead and leave a comment down below, like the video, subscribe, because I'll be sharing more college and career advice here as well, and having amazing guests such as Rod here. And we hope you have a great time. All right, take care.